just saying, like, in general, like, I don't need a school district to tell me that. It's not the business of the school district to be telling children that either. Because if I went up to a random kid, here's my mentality of this. If I went up to a random kid, like a little girl, in a playground and I started talking to her about sexuality, would you guys find me really fucking creepy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but why is it okay for a school teacher to do that then? So my viewpoint is, if you can't do it in the public life, why can you do it in the privacy of the school district then, without the consent of the parents? So that, I mean, that's a fair argument. I think the hypocrisy of that exists. It would be disturbing, and I don't want my teachers teaching me, and I don't want my teachers teaching other, like, not even 10-year-old kids. They're not even in the double digits, that type of shit, let alone anything like that. Because I can't go to a playground and do that, otherwise I'm charged as being a fucking pervert, and rightfully so.
Exactly.
So that's used as a title that was used by the media to put a bad stigma on it, to say that gays don't exist. And that's great. You don't actually speak it.
Please get your killer cosplay over here.
It's not to knock gay people. It's just that, like, Ron DeSantis of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, doesn't hate gay people at all. He's like, it's none of my business. I just don't want what's going on to happen. Again, Scorpion, I encourage you to look up Loudoun County, Virginia. There's videos of that, and they were actually using the government to turn the parents into domestic terrorists, quote-unquote domestic terrorists, by the...
What?
What the fuck? Anyway. They were charged as being considered domestic
Terrorists?
terrorists by the
What
administration.
the fuck?
Because they stood up and were yelling back at the school district. And the funny thing is, my parents were like, oh, this isn't happening. I'm like, dude, I'm seeing it happen right now before my fucking eyes. Like, I'm living this. Don't tell me that I'm not. You just don't want to think that it could happen, but it can happen. But we justify it by the act of teachers are in, and I hate using this terminology, teachers are in a position of power. They're viewed as the idea of knowledge givers, but teachers aren't smart because they're teachers. If I can read the same thing from a textbook the teacher is teaching, they're not really a teacher now, are they? I don't need to learn from the teacher. Again, if I can read the same thing, the teacher needs to go above and beyond the textbook. That is true education. To challenge the students, to make them think what they thought was true.
What is doing to me?
Justin, you okay there? Why are you like jiggling with your mic? I just want to like relax a little bit.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you got like your microphone inside like a glass cup and you're just wiggle jiggling around. You can talk. It's fine. Okay, bless your heart. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go see. Let me see if I can't find one person real quick. I'll be right back.
¿Y este pavo?
Again, it's 4 pages. Just to, I could probably pull up the bill again and read it if it's that bad, because nobody likes to fucking read 4 pages. God forbid, it's too heavy for them. I don't know why. But yeah, like I said, look up Loudoun County. They were having like books that were like teaching kids like how to give blowjobs and like strap-ons and shit like that. And
Wait,
like,
what's it called? What the fuck is it called?
Loudoun County, Virginia.
Oh hell no.
I thought you'd find a...
Yeah, no, I can't
Wait,
even
what?
make this up.
Like, what district or some shit? Like kindergarten, like
Loudoun
wait.
County.
No, like
yeah, it was in elementary school. It was in the
a
school
fucking
library.
elementary
Sit down.
teaching about that.
Yeah, they're teaching that in
What
elementary
the
school.
fuck?
I guys, I shit you not.
That's sick.
Check me. I don't need to make anything up. I know, that's my problem. And that's why I said if I said that to somebody at like a playground, you guys would think that I'm absolutely disgusting.
I think you're a fucking pervert. I would think you're a fucking pervert if you said
exactly. 100% with you on that, but
Guys,
But then,
sit down.
but then teachers get to talk
being
about
like a school
fucking
district.
sex in elementary school.
It's not right. I don't
That's
want
fucking
kids to learn
disgusting.
about that. I want kids to be innocent. I want kids to have fun and
Guys,
part
And
of
have a
having
good
fun is
childhood.
playing
Make a
and
speech.
just-
Somebody's gonna make a
Guys.
speech on the bench.
Yeah, come on.
You gonna say this?
like,
Get up.
yeah, that's what I mean. And you know, part of that is because of like social media and access to everything on your phone,
Come
right?
on, sit down on the bench. Sit down on the bench.
And like,
Down on the
think about like this. Like,
benches.
there was a time where like. Because most 13-year-olds should be 13-year-olds. They're trying to like, I call it grooming. That's why I just call it the grooming bill.
I learned it in 5th grade. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm in 8th.
What-
Everybody sit down on the bench. Sit down on a bench.
So you learned about like puberty, right? Or no? Because I learned about
Yeah, I
puberty.
learned about
in 5th grade.
puberty.
That was it.
I learned about
That was
puberty.
it. That's the extent of it.
Yeah.
Now
that's
it's
a good point.
way beyond
Shut
that,
up.
and that's the disturbing situation that's going on right now. That's why I call it the groomer bill. They're grooming people.
Like,
It's like
who
fucking
wants their
pedophiles.
who wants their kids to come home from school one day and be like, "Oh my God, I learned about strap-ons in school today."
That's my point. It's,
Like,
That's-
it's,
who
it's
wants
a
kids to come
grooming bill.
home?
That's
It's a
fucking.
Who wants
pedophile
kids to come
grooming
home?
thing.
That's disgusting.
I don't want that for
That's
kids.
honestly
The school
disgusting.
district this is why people are pulling their kids out for the first time
And this is why
in mass
kids.
quantities from public school.
And that's why
they're
kids on
doing
fucking social
homeschooling,
media are
and
coming
they
out as
should.
like gay and lesbian at fucking like 8 years old. That's not like that's kind of weird.
No,
I feel
that's
like-
that's the problem.
Exactly.
Social media has corrupted a lot of society. The internet can be used for really good things, but of course it's gotten corrupted. When the majority of the internet things, the majority of websites are porn websites. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I feel like
More
all
than
the
way more
time-
than 50%.
I feel like kids have been
I didn't get a
pressured to
donut.
like come out as something so they fit into society.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's-
People don't know what they are, or they don't know anything about themselves because it's part of like self-discovery. But you don't suggest people are because of blank. You let people be, and they'll figure things out themselves as they go along naturally.
But I feel like over time the internet or like just people in the world have like forced younger generation to like be something like
Traditional guy who just, I find women beautiful, and I want to find that really personal connection to an individual, and I think everybody does. That's just the standard of love. Okay, yeah, you wrote it earlier, so that's the only reason why I mentioned that. And again, like I said, I'm not knocking you or anything like that.
as long
That's
as you
just,
have
to me, that's just romance.
Yeah.
But you have to also understand the world doesn't bend to you, so if somebody doesn't agree with you, you have to accept that the world does not bend its will to your needs and wants and desires. You have to understand that people
Yeah.
don't also agree with everything. And that's
I
part of
understood
accepting
that.
reality of
Yeah.
things.
That's okay. You don't need people to accept you for who
Yes.
you are.
Understanding that a long time ago. Or not long time ago.
No, they don't. And
I've learned.
like I've come on here and I say this is just I have conservative values, but the question is I encourage people to argue what are conservative values and things like that. And I obviously don't care that anybody's gay here. Like that's not what conservatism is anti this, anti that. That's a stigma that people put on people, and I just think that that's more of the disturbing situation at hand nowadays. Not to bring politics into it in that manner, but you brought up Democrats. My point is that people wish to be who they are, and that's not a political viewpoint at all. The problem is the current society has made everything into a
That's an
political
ego.
statement. That's the problem. If you agree with this, the opposition must disagree with that. Where's our concept of free will and free spirit in that sense? It's gone. Because you have to align with the viewpoint. That's the disturbingness of the current society that we live in. If I agree with this, my enemies have to agree with that, and then I get to label everybody in this category as the enemy. Well, isn't that stupid? Because the Republicans were the party of freeing slaves. The Democrats were, this is the argument if you really want to get into the historical context. 99% of all KKK members that were actually there's not a single Republican that ever existed that owned slaves. Not a single one. If you can find me that person, good luck.
Are you a liberal?
And it was up in the 60s and 70s. No, I'm not. The question is, what is liberal?
Thank God.
What does liberal mean?
Oh.
Because liberal's been co-opted into meaning a very different thing than what liberal used to mean. Because you can say that I have
Just
classical liberal
retarded.
viewpoints. There's a difference between liberal and classical liberal.
What does it mean?
Well, that's kind of what this was about in To Kill a Mockingbird, was that supposedly this black guy
I'm back.
raped a white girl, and it turned out that that's not the case, but they were quick to judge it. And the point of Atticus Finch is everybody was against Atticus Finch, who's the lawyer, because he kept fighting for the right to have a proper trial and to investigate the appropriate, details, the evidence. And is anybody gonna actually read To Kill a Mockingbird? I'm gonna kind of spoil it.
Is it what I just explained?
Yeah, it's like a false trial that they were so quick to judge, but there's more to it than just that.
Oh.
The point is, like John Adams, founding father, one of the founding fathers. Okay, so obviously a founding, continental, basically breaking off of England, but still defended the Brits in the Boston Massacre because he felt that people still had a right to a fair trial and still felt that people needed to be represented appropriately. Despite him, in a way, disagreeing with them, they still reserved the right to be treated like individuals in the proper form of justice. And lo and behold, those people pretty much, not that they didn't get away with it, but they kind of got away with it because there was provoking during the Boston Massacre where people were throwing like snowballs and like rocks inside of them at the British. And then the British were also being very authoritarian prior to it and shoving people out of the way and attacking. So it's like it's a battle between defense. So it's a deep argument. I'm not going to get into that. My point is that everybody reserves the right to a free and fair trial.
Yeah.
But they're getting rid of books like that and substituting them with sexual books about like sucking on a strap-on. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this world? This world is so upside down.
I'm gonna search up that book. What's the book called?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
So
no, the other
nobody
one.
knows what's what.
The one that I was telling about, John Adams.
The one that you said that they were like showing, or like was for like kindergartners or something.
Let me look it up.
Okay.
Loudoun County, Virginia, sex books. Let me see if I can't find it this way. This is gonna be good because I know Google's gonna have a hard time. Google's gonna try to like get rid of it